Hey rebels, welcome to the channel that gives you guys content you didn't ask for but I know you're gonna love, and it is very helpful because everything here is
It's random.
My name is Masako Mutsuka. You guys are watching RWS, which is Randoms with Shades, and I'm M Shades the Rebel. In today's video, if you haven't read the title, today we're doing an introduction to pattern making, and I am going to be telling you guys more about patterns. So if you're interested, please let us get into the video.
It's random.
Here was this 18-year-old girl who decided she wanted to study fashion because she didn't really know what she wanted to study, and her parents did not approve. And so she was like, okay, so I guess we're not studying. And I had already made up my mind that I was not going to study fashion or not study at all if that was possible. But in 2017, early, probably on the 20 something of January, I decided I was going to call all different institutes that offered the fashion design course because I was already tired of being at home doing nothing. And I called the Durban University of Technology. They told me that I should send them my details. I did that, and on that very same day they called me to come and do a assessment that I was going to do the following Monday. So I called on a Friday, and on that Monday I was supposed to be in Durban doing my assessment. Was I ready? No. Was I excited? Not really, but I was looking forward to whatever was coming my way because I was not gonna be home, number one, and that had been something I always wanted. But I got interested in studying my course, my fashion design course, and it was really fascinating for me. Everything that I learned, it was fun even though it was hard and I don't like school. So studying fashion just got me more and more interested about the industry and wanting to work in the industry as a whole. But more so than nothing, if not, this is probably a gift or a thing that was given to me or passed down by my parents. I do like telling people about what I have been learning or what I have learned. And so I decided to do this video because I was fascinated when I studied fashion, and I know so many people keep on asking me about what it's like studying fashion, ask me questions about studying fashion, ask me questions about how to do certain things, and I'm always willing to help. So this is why I decided to do this segment that is going to run for probably the entire time I have a YouTube channel, where you guys can ask me anything about the fashion industry or anything that you'd like to know that is interesting to you guys. But today we're starting with patterns. So today we're talking patterns, pattern making. And pattern making, guys, is important. It is the most important thing. So when it comes to garment making, that is the first thing that you need to know. Even when it comes to designing, you have to have a basic understanding of what pattern making is in order for you to design something so that it can be executed the way you have been envisioning it. And the reasons for this is because there are some things that are just impossible. You can't do that. It's like wearing a garment made out of a woven fabric that does not have a slit at the back and it is a pencil skirt. You're not going to be able to walk properly. So it is not to say that it is very impossible to do certain things, but for the functionality of the person who is going to wear it, the consumer, it is really unrealistic. So that is why patterns is really important, and I felt it was the first lesson that I'd like to teach you guys about. So what are patterns? So patterns are a 2D version of whatever it is that you're wearing right now. You're currently wearing either a top and denim or lingerie, I don't know, whatever it is that you're wearing, but a pattern is a 2D version of that. So that thing that you're wearing currently was once cut up into a million pieces or less, and it was all flat and was joined together with seams or stitching. So a pattern is a 2D version of whatever garment you're wearing, and that is the gist of it. That's really the gist of it. And I am here to tell you guys about things in the fashion industry. And I know if you're someone that is not studying in the industry or someone who is interested in studying the industry, I'm going to try and make everything that I'm going to teach you guys or tell you guys as simple as possible. So with patterns, everything or every garment, every clothing item that is in your wardrobe has a pattern or had a pattern before it was made. That is where the process of garment making starts really. After the designing, it is now the pattern making. So in the design process, patterns does not come until a little bit later, but it is crucial to know pattern making knowledge, or to just have pattern making knowledge. So now that you guys know what a pattern is, and I hope that you guys do understand, with patterns, each and every garment has different types of pattern pieces to it. It depends what it is, and it also depends on the fabric. So in general, we're just gonna say there are two types of fabrics. There are wovens, and then you get your knits. And your knits are all your stretchy fabrics, as you guys would say, your stretchy materials, anything that you can really stretch. Those are your knits. So your wools, your lycras, those are your stretchy fabrics. So then you get your wovens, and your wovens are your more rigid fabrics. They do not stretch much. They do have a bit of stretch, some of them, depending on also what kind of properties the fabric has been made out of. So then they might have a bit of a stretch, but the stretch is really not that much. Wovens are more your rigid fabrics. These are fabrics like your denims, your twills, anything that really makes something that is a little bit more constructed than your knit type of garments. So with that being said, there are two types of patterns. So you will have your patterns for your knit fabrics as well as patterns for your woven fabrics. And the reason for this is because our bodies have curves all over, and with a fabric that is a 2D, you cannot really just put it on someone and it's gonna look good. No, it's gonna look funny, and I think a lot of us have done it. But there's something called fabric manipulation. So that is what we do with the patterns. We manipulate the fabric for it to fit onto our body. So with knit fabrics, the patterns are a lot simpler to make, as well as a lot simpler to cut, and there isn't much fabric manipulation that needs to be done because of the stretch that allows the fabric to actually sit well on someone's body. With woven fabrics, you will need fabric manipulation. So with woven patterns, you get things like dots, you get things like your panels that are going to help the garment fit well onto your consumer or client. Yeah, guys, so where does the pattern making start? It starts with a style analysis, where you would trace out a basic pattern block. So if you want to make a top, if you guys look behind me, there are boxes there that have shapes. The first one that you guys see is a shape of a dress. So that's a basic dress pattern block. And if you were to make a dress, you would use that pattern, but that pattern is for a woven, so it's for a more structured fabric. You could still use it on knits, but some knits are also made to be a lot tighter, so there isn't much stretch as most knits would have, so you would use that on that as well. But also you can do anything with whatever. There is no limits to designing, so you can do whatever you want, however you want it, but you just need to know the knowledge. So that basic pattern block is traced onto a piece of paper. Then from there on, style lines are added according to whatever design that you have. So if you look at the dress, that is just a basic straight dress. There is no shape, there is no vavavoom, there is no wow factor from that. And you would take that and put in those lines, that where you're gonna cut, where you're gonna do this, where you're gonna put a pocket, where you're gonna do that to make it that beautiful wow dress that you want it to be. So I hope you guys understand what I mean by that, but as we do this more and more, you guys will get to understand what I'm saying to you guys. So it starts with a pattern block that is traced onto a piece of paper that will have style lines and everything that you need to do according to the design that you already have, and that is called a style analysis. From then on, that style analysis is taken and is made into a master pattern. But is taken and made into a master pattern, which with the master pattern you would add everything that is necessary, your seam allowances being this space. I just want to show you guys the stitching over here. That was a seam allowance before it was sewn together. Now it is now a seam, and that is the space that you give yourself in order to sew that garment. So once you have cut out your pattern and it looks amazing, you give yourself a seam allowance so that you can allow your dress to be able to fit, because then if you don't give yourself that seam allowance, the dress would fit you, but once you start sewing it, it's going to be smaller. Okay, so that will be a whole 2 centimeters lost in a dress. But we'll get into that as we continue to do these series, so don't be afraid, don't be mesmerized. Okay, and then it'll take it into a master pattern. So your master pattern will have every information you need. It will have the seam allowance, and that is what you cut out onto the fabric. So you cut your master pattern onto your fabric, and from your fabric you take that and you sew it together and you have a garment. So I hope you guys understood the first lesson of pattern making. We're going to be doing this for the next couple of weeks. I hope you guys understand. If you guys do have any other questions, please don't be scared to write them down. But I hope you guys have found this very interesting. So guys, in the next video pertaining to this topic, I am going to be telling you guys a little bit more about the blocks and how to draft one as well. Also guys, if you haven't clicked on that notification bell, if you haven't subscribed, please do now. And clicking on the notification bell is just going to tell you when I am posting the next video. And I think if you are really interested in studying or wanting to know more about fashion, it would be a better idea to do so, because then you would know a girl has posted. Let us watch. Until next time, thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.